Oh, amen. Thank you, Ellie, for that prayer. Yes, we just ask for your presence, Lord, that we will not move from this place unless you go with us, Lord. So we just thank you in Jesus' mighty name, Jesus' mighty name. It's just so good to be in community. I just can't tell you. I don't know if you guys want to share. I just really, as you were praying, Ellie, I felt the Lord say, ask them to share something. Like you could share a win or a learn or whatever it is that, could be an encouragement or even a learn for all of us today. Angel, you want to go? You're like ready? Like,
no,
were you listening? Oh, you're muted. You're muted, hon.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted myself.
You did. I think your book hit it.
Yeah, I really liked the homework lab for last week when we did our vision boards because it was a lot different than the normal vision board. It was, really getting down to the nitty-gritty of who your bennies are.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how it shows you like the before and after. So it was really fun looking for bennies, like the before and then after. It just kind of made me think a little bit more about how I want God to use me and how he's using me and who my who is. And I found that while I was doing that exercise, it actually opened my heart up even more with more compassion.
Awesome. That is so great. I forgot to open and say this is Envision Your Mission, Envision My Mission Boot Camp, week 3. And you're going to be in for a ride tonight. So hang on, keep watching. If you liked the homework last time, you're going to love what we have in store today. So Ellie, do you have a share?
I really enjoyed the vision board as well. I was going to post mine today on Facebook, but when I went to do that, of course, it was locked down. But I really enjoyed seeing the before and afters as well, and I look forward to sharing that with everyone.
Good. I can't wait to see it. That is so exciting. It's this community. I just cannot tell you the richness by having people who are on a similar journey as you and walking through that with you. So I'm just super excited. So I do have a lot to cover tonight. So I'm going to jump right in and I'm going to do a little Bible share, which will merge into the training. So let me see if I can correctly share my screen here. And here we go. You can let me know if you can see. And I will do. Okay. Can you see that okay? Great, awesome. So although I think it started on a wrong page, there we go. It's always something. So yes, the care and feeding of a mission. So we are, just to give you a little bit of the journey so far, if you're jumping in, this is your first week, we have really gone over the whys. This is like why you want to do what God's calling you to do, to really dig deep into that and to draft your 20 whys. So everything's going to build on top of each other. And then last week, we really talked about the mindsets that hold us back and to really get a good grasp of the envision your bennies, we call them, the people who are going to get the benefit of what God is calling you to. So I want to start this. This is our mission word of the week in Esther Calling, and it is courageous. I just have been praying every weekend. I pray, Lord, what is going to be the word of the week? And this week is courageous. And the Lord said to Joshua, Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not fear and do not be discouraged or dismayed, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So that led me on a few more verses, that they call this verse mapping. And so I'll share the next one. In Isaiah 52, it says, the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. And I've been talking about that. I've actually been seeing Jesus running ahead of us and like preparing the way and going before us and, arranging things, kind of leaving care packages along the journey. We don't know the people that we're going to meet or what's going to happen. So, and then in Genesis 24, this is a story of when Abraham sent his servant to go and get a wife for Isaac. And he was like, well, Lord, what if I don't succeed? And Abraham was just adamant. He said, the Lord in whose presence I have lived will send his angel with you and make your mission a success, or some versions say your journey a success. So I'm going to jump right into our blueprint checklist. So this is where I'm going to merge. We're going to go deeper into these. And if you don't get them all down, take a screenshot, but I will post these in more detail. But these are the things that we need to do along the journey of developing and unfolding and walking in and walking out our mission. So we need to start in prayer. We need to perceive, what is God saying? What is God doing? What am I seeing? What are the things that the Lord has been redundant? Like, oh, I've heard that before, or someone just said that. Like you see this God, especially when he talks in multiplications, when there's more than one person that says that to you, in different circles, that God is speaking. And he might say it in different ways. It could be a billboard. It could be a person in a conversation. Anyone have that experience? It's pretty cool. And that in turn gives you that passion. And we talked about the passion. That's why I had you do the 20 whys in the first week, because that's really getting to the emphasis, I'll say that word, emphasis of your passion, of the deep-rooted things that the Lord has put in you. This opens the way for you to see what the potentials are. Let's face it, ladies, and Ellie, I haven't seen you in person yet, but you might be surprised to know that I'm barely 5 feet tall. So the potential of me being a basketball NBA player is very not going to happen, right? So that's the potentials. We got to see, what is the potential for what I'm doing? Does it line up? Does it make sense? Is it in my strength zone? Is it in my personality and my gift mix? So we look at all that. We look at our path. What path are we on right now? Are we a mom with a new baby? Are we someone who's retired? Those lifestyles are going to look so different. Does it make sense now? Like, these are the things that we're kind of putting our mission to the test here. The people that we're surrounded with, who are the people that we need, or who are the people in our path? Who has God encircled us with? Or do we need to stretch? Do we need to, like, I love, the ladies here who, some of them who couldn't make it tonight, they've made an intentional effort to reach outside of their circles and to be part of Daughters United and part of this training. So I give you a lot of credit. I give you a high five. That is what you need to do. You got to look at the price. There's a cost to doing God's work. And he's asking us, just like the speaker I listened to last night, we are very blessed in the United States. we have no idea what persecution really is, right? For our faith. And I believe that there's a time coming. In fact, I think it's here that we're already starting to experience a little bit of that. But as the years go on, and that is my passion for Daughters United, why we're doing this is to create a firewall for our sisters coming behind us who are going to even get more opposition. So we're actually counting the cost for them. They're going to count the cost in their lifetime, but this is provision. Okay, this is provision. God is already years ahead of time starting to create provision for these sisters who might be 1 or 2 years old right now. They might be 10 years old right now. You know, this is what the Lord gave me. So again, looking at the provision, you know, what has God given you and what do you need in provision? We're going to talk more about that next week. God will have you do preparation. That's why you're in this class. You're preparing for something, for such a time as this, right? And that you're drafting the blueprint or the process to do it so that you can see your purpose come to play and come to pass. So I'm going to read the story from, it was just so rich, I couldn't put it down today. I literally spent a lot of time in the words this morning. And to shorten it up a little bit, I'll summarize a little bit of this. But basically in Genesis 24, and as I go through this, okay, yeah, I'm not going to give you the answers yet. That's on the next slide. As I go through the story, on your notebook, start looking at the process. And if I'm going to say his name correctly, it is Eliezer. It was the servant of Abraham. Okay, so Ellie, I'm just going to say Ellie for short because, hey, it matches Ellie, right? And but so this servant of Abraham, he had this mission, and Abraham sent his senior servant to find a wife for Isaac. And he didn't want Isaac to have a wife from Canaan, a Canaanite wife, but from his own people. So he sent him back to his brother, where his brother settled. And again, I'll read the scripture. He said, "The Lord will send an angel before you so you can get a wife from my son from there." So then the servant prayed, and I'm going to just pick it up there in verse 12 of Genesis 24. And the servant prayed, "Lord, give me success and show kindness to my master Abraham. Help me to accomplish this purpose of my journey. See, I am standing here beside the spring, and the young women of the village are coming to draw water. This is my request. I will ask one of them for a drink. And if she says, 'Yes, certainly, and I will water your camels too,' let her be the one who has been appointed as Isaac's wife." Now, it was common practice in the day that if any travelers came by, that any woman that was there would offer them water from her vessel. But it wasn't required that she water their livestock. Now, that was quite a haul. I don't know how many camels he had, but even one camel would be vessels full of water that she would have to haul back and forth, right? So that showed something about Rebecca, and that was Rebecca. So again, as I'm going through the story, highlight some of these words on the checklist that Eli went through, that he prayed, he perceived. So I'm just giving you, so jot it down as I'm reading the story. So now Rebecca was very beautiful, and she was a virgin. So she was a prime candidate, right, to be a wife. So no man had ever slept with her, and she went down to the spring and filled her jug and came up again. And running over to her, the servant said, "Please give me a drink." And she did. She said, "Certainly, sir." I'm sorry, I'm repeating that. "I will draw water for your camels." First he asked it, and then it came to pass. So he prayed, he perceived, and it came to pass. So then she, after the camels had finished drinking, he gave her a gold ring for her nose and 2 large bracelets for her wrists. And then he asked, "Whose daughter are you? Would your father have any room to put us up for the night?" Now get this. "My father is Bethuel," she replied. "My grandparents are Nahor and Michal. Yes, we have plenty of straw and food for the camels, and we have room for guests." So, as you might have guessed, and as you probably know the story, the servant was so excited. He says, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of my master Abraham. The Lord has been so kind and faithful to Abraham, for he's led me straight into my master's relatives." This was actually the granddaughter and the niece of Abraham, this Rebecca, right? So pretty cool. So the young woman ran home to tell her family about what had happened. And now Rebecca had a brother named Laban. Boy, when I read this, it jumped off the page. So down the road, you know what Laban does to Rebecca's son. And gives us a glimpse of who Laban was earlier in life. He said, when he saw the nose ring and the bracelets on her wrist, and he heard the story, he rushed out to the spring where the man was still standing. And he said, "Come and stay with us, you who are blessed by the Lord." So I just thought this is funny because Laban is this opportunist. Yeah, so that's Laban right there. So that's pretty awesome to see what has occurred even, earlier years before the history that is going to happen. Again, God is preparing the way. God is preparing something to happen here for generations after them, right? So the man went home with Laban, and they unloaded the camels, and the supper was prepared. And then Abraham's servant said, "I don't want to eat until I've told you why I've come." Okay. So he said, "All right, tell us your mission." So then he had explained again that the Lord had blessed Abraham richly. He'd become a great man. The Lord had given him flocks of sheep and herds of cattle, fortune in silver and gold, many servants and camels and donkeys. And when Sarah, my master's wife, was very old, she gave birth to my master's very own son, and has given him everything he owns. And my master made me swear that I would not let Isaac marry one of the local Canaanite women, but instead I was to come here and find the relatives in the far off land and to bring back a young woman for him to marry. So hopefully this is giving you clues to this checklist as I'm speaking this. But suppose I can't find a woman willing to come back with me. Here he's doubting. And what does Abraham say? "You will. For the Lord, my God, in whose presence I have walked, will send an angel with you and make your mission successful. Yes, you must get a wife for my son from among my relatives and from my father's family." Amen. So he continues his story. He says, "So this afternoon I came to the well," and he's, relaying the story. And he said, "I prayed, Lord, please make my mission successful." And then here comes Rebecca carrying her water jug, right? And he just relays the whole story. Rebecca said, "I'll give you a drink and I'll water your camels, blah, blah, blah." And then I bowed my head and worshiped the Lord. And I praised the Lord because he led me along the right path to find a wife for my master's, from the family of my master's relatives. So tell me, will you or won't you show me your truest kindness to my master? Tell me what my next step should be, whether to move this way or that way. So he said, so then Laban and Bethuel replied, well, the Lord has obviously brought you here. So what can we say? Here is Rebekah. Take her and go. Yes, let her be the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has directed. At this reply, Abraham's servant bowed to the ground and worshiped the Lord. So he got victory. His mission was successful, right? Then he brought out the silver and the gold jewelry and the lovely clothing for Rebekah, and also gave valuable presents to the mother and the brothers. And then they had supper. And then, okay, the story continues. Please let Rebekah stay 10 days. And he goes, no, I need to go because they're waiting. And they says, I love this. And they said, well, let's call Rebekah and see what she thinks, right? So they called Rebekah and they said, are you willing to go with this man? And she replied, yes, I will go. So they said goodbye and sent her away with Abraham's servant. And the woman who had been Rebekah's childhood nurse went along with her. And they blessed her, saying, "O sister, may you become the mother of many millions. May your descendants overcome all their enemies." Wow, that is awesome. So then they go on their journey and they get close to where Abraham and Isaac are. And on the evening, as Isaac was taking a walk out in the fields meditating, he looked up and saw the camels coming. He saw the answer. He saw the purpose that the servant was sent for. And he didn't see the answer yet. It was a long way away. But then when they got closer, right, he saw Rebekah. And Rebekah looked up and saw Isaac. Can you just see that moment? She quickly dismounted. Who is the man walking in the fields to meet us? She asked the servant. And he replied, "It is my master." So Rebekah covered her face with her veil, and the servant told Isaac the whole story. And Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother's tent, and she became his wife. He loved her very much, and she was a special comfort to him after the death of his mother. Amen. And that's the story, ladies. Wow, right? I'm hoping you can see this. Pretty cool, huh? So now I'll go to the answers. So this is what the Lord gave me. And I'm hoping that you can add to this. So if you don't mind, I can't see the chat, but I'll get it later. If you have anything to add, please type it in the chat. So here it is. Abraham sent his servant Eliezer to find a wife. So that was the mission, right? That was the why. And he prayed and perceived. So you could see that he had been studious of his master, and that he followed along the footsteps of Abraham in his honor of the Lord, right? So he prayed to the Lord and he perceived what the Lord was doing. How did he perceive? You could unmute yourself.
Well, he pretty much said, if she offers not only to give me water, but to water my camels, then she must be the one. It's like a sign.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He had the passion. And why did he see the potential in Rebekah? What were some of the clues there?
I think think because she was willing to go above and beyond.
Mhm. What else about Rebecca?
She was definitely willing to go with him, but I mean, even before that, she was willing not to follow the norm.
Right. And when God does something, could you just imagine the servant going, he's like, please let it be, the right woman, and please let her be pretty. And of course she had to be a virgin, right? So there was a lot of check boxes there, right? So there she had all of the check boxes of the potential, right? So he followed the pathway and led him to the people. So what was the pathway and who were the people? Anybody?
Well, I guess the pathway was he followed Abraham's instructions as to where to look for her, and also among his kin he had to find. So it was pretty specific.
So he was in the general vicinity, but he didn't know the people, right? He didn't know who Rebecca was yet. And that's the other checkbox. She was also in the family, right? So that was just like when, and I'm going to tie this all into our vision and mission. Just trust me. I'm hoping you're already kind of making those connections. So he paid a price in her jewelry. He gave her the jewelry, the nose ring, and the bracelets. And I thought this was interesting. He didn't even want to eat. And I don't know how long the journey must have been, but he probably was hungry. And so he stayed fasting until he stayed on task. He did not divert from what he had to do, his mission. And this is where the enemy gets so many of us. This is a word for somebody, distractions. We can be so distracted. And it's very, especially now, like I got a pop-up message, and you're like it's like, and it takes you on a bunny trail somewhere, right? Anybody get that? Struggle with that? So then he had this whole process that he went through, right? There was a plan, there was an assignment, there were the check boxes, the process. And he explained this to Laban and Bethuel. And God also gave Abraham the provision. Like he had the funds, he had the finances for the dowry, right? And I would love to just get a sneak peek into Rebecca's life. Can you just imagine? Like the end of the story, she jumped off the camel. Like she had because I don't know what her prospects were in that land she was in, but she knew she was going to no schluck. He had money, like he had, made a name for himself. It was like, no, and she was wanted. So, and it was a younger man. In those days you could have been given to an older man, so there was a lot going on. The Lord must have prepared Rebecca. The purpose of the mission was successful. And I love this, that Isaac loved Rebecca very much. It's like, what a beautiful love story. Any other takeaways that you guys got?
I noticed that Laban could have very much been a border bully, wanting him to stay for 10 days. Think about what he did to Jacob.
Right.
So that definitely stood out.
Yeah, his personality didn't change, did it? From boy, that really opened my eyes. So you can see the personalities. And last week we really just touched on the personalities. This week I'm going to do another overview of it, but I want you, just a brief one, but I want you to look at it from the perspective of your team, okay? From who you need or who you're serving, not necessarily maybe who, like hopefully by now you know who you are, but now can you identify the personalities and the people that you're going to work with or the people that you're serving, okay? So I'll give you a short overview. So here again are the 4 types: mobilizer, socializer, organizer, and stabilizer. And I'm going to go over them again here. But again, let's ask these questions. It's all about, she's got personality, whoa, personality, whoa, personality, right? Do they need to be outgoing or are they behind the scenes? Extroverted or introverted? Task or people focused? Leader, or can they be good at being a follower and a supporter? Are they a creative or are they an analyst? Are they a talker or a listener? Do they like to be the decision maker or are they supportive? Or do you just need a warm body to take tickets? Okay, so, it all depends on what you need, right? So I'm going somewhere with this. So I told you, again, I would help you see this in a couple of ways. These are a couple different, so now I have 3 different certifications of this. Basically, I'm just telling you, all the training is the same. They just label different names, okay? So the mobilizer wants it done the fast way. They're the decision makers, they get it done. The socializer is the party girl, wants to do it the fun way. If they're going to get anything done, let's have fun doing it. The stabilizer, they want it peaceful. They just want copacetic, the easy way. Let's just have it nice and easy breezy. And the organizer is that one that is the perfectionist. They want it done the right way, and that can get them stalled in their tracks. So if you're working with any of these groups, you can now identify maybe what can be holding them up in making progress, or how you can relate to them in a way that can be, they can gravitate to it, they can really receive it better. So then I told you I would talk to you about Gary Smalley has the animals version of this. So the mobilizer, or DISC, calls it choleric. I mean, not DISC, but the other personalities, the wired that way, has choleric. They're the doer, they're the lion, okay? So all of this should make a lot of sense to you if you kind of get that in a picture. The socializer, they're the sanguines, the extroverted talker, and Gary calls them the otters. The melancholies are the organizers. So they are the introverted thinkers, and they're referred to as beaver. Again, these are the same things, just different names. And the phlegmatic, I love the word stabilizer so much better. I think the phlegmatic personality kind of got a raw deal with that word, but they are the introverted watchers. And they are like golden retrievers. They are loyal to the bone. So now I got a little pop quiz for you. If the shoe fits, who out of the 4 do you think this is? I'll give you a hint. They like to do things the easy way.
The stabilizer?
Stabilizer, yes. Yep. Stabilizer, the easy way. They bring value to your team. They are reliable, they're loyal, they're compliant. They're like the stretchy, putty people. They just kind of can fill in wherever you need them. Those these people made the best volunteers in the outreach center. They're motivated by recognition. Oh, they do not like conflict though. That's one issue. Like they won't speak up if there's conflict. They just hold it in, and that can be detrimental to their own self. But they're motivated by recognition and loyalty. They love to keep the peace, and they like short projects. So here's the next one. Who do you think that is? If the shoe fits.
Maybe the sanguine?
I should have did that one first, thinking you would really know the difference. Let me show you the sanguine picture. So
Maybe the choleric then. I'm
I
wrong.
think the organizer.
yes,
The
why?
organizer, the melancholy?
Yeah,
Really?
because they're very business oriented, very proper.
Proper, very proper. You know what else about the organizers is that if you look in their closet, a lot of what they have are black and white. Everything makes sense, and
Not
they're
anymore.
very, huh?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Me too. I changed.
We can adapt. We can adapt, but they're very practical. These shoes will go with a lot of outfits, right? Okay, so here is the organizer. The organizer brings value to your team. They're an anchor of reality. So they're kind of the ones that you come up with a vision or you say something and they're like, well, but what about this? Or what, they're kind of like the devil's advocate sometimes. But they are even tempered, but they love to have their facts. They test the information. They do have high standards, details, logical, and they don't mind working alone. In fact, it's good for them. They can thrive. That's why they did thrive in COVID isolation. So, okay, gave this one away. This one's the socializer. I know some people that wear those kind of shoes and it fits them to a T. So here they are. They are great promoters. So this is a kind of person that if you work with them, they are the encouragers. That they love the creative side. They love to keep it fun, sense of humor. Again, kind of like the phlegmatic or the stabilizer. They kind of don't like to go near conflict. They buffer it with fun, with jokes. They're motivated by being popular, flattery, friend building, free from rules. So, yeah, so here we go. Now, who is this one? This one's
That's the choleric.
right. Choleric mobilizer. So they're the ones, they're getting a job done. Okay. They're getting a job done. They are on their organizer. I don't know. I missed this one. I am one of these, but I'm not on time usually. I want to be. I try to be. So I must have a little sanguine in me, socializer in me, to the point, embraces change. They want change, not just to change. They want to make things better. That's why they change. They're motivated by new challenges, freedom to take risks, and they like the ability to lead. So I'm trying to watch the time here, getting to your who. Who is your who? So I know we've done some of this in some one-on-one sessions, so it might be repeating for some of you, but I just wanted to make sure that I cover it. Who do you help? H, how are you called to help them? And what opportunity do you offer? And how do you do that? And now this is very important. So this is part of the blueprint background. So this is all the brick and mortar of building the building. So I wanted to put a picture next week. I'll try to get a picture of a building foundation that's, you know, a lot of time and money and sweat, blood and tears are poured into that foundation. It takes a long time before you see the walls going up, but this is so critical to the rest of what you're going to do. It literally provides the footprint or blueprint for everything else. So this is what we call drafting your mission message or your signature mission. So you want something that you call your own. This is so important for building your brand, building the ministry, the identity that God has called you to be and to serve that audience. Okay, so again, your who, we're taking from the slide prior. I help who to do what? What do you help them do? So they can, how? What are they gonna do? Like how are you gonna do that? So I'll the next slide, I use myself as an example. Occupy, that was just like one of the visuals, right? That we just had up on Esther Calling. I help my sisters on mission to discover, develop, and deploy her God-given callings so she can effectively impact her circle of influence. So this might even be a little too long for elevator spiel. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. You want to keep it like around 30 words or less if you can. That's the goal of this. This is kind of like your mission statement or your vision statement, right? Vision statement is a little broader, but this is like, what are you doing right now? And how does that fit into your bigger mission? Any questions so far? I know I'm going a little fast now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't clear about that screen that said opportunity.
Okay.
Can you clarify what you mean by opportunity?
So what is it that you're offering? What is going to be the meat and potatoes, like, of what you're doing? You know what I'm saying? You're boiling that down. Because in this screen here, the opportunity is to help them to impact. And again, I could even refine this even more, but to impact her circle of influence. So what does that say to you when you look at that? Like, so obviously it has something to do with training. Obviously it has, you know, they can see where it fits into the coaching aspect of what I do. So in another lane or circle of influence, let's say you are a health coach, you can say something like, I help middle-aged women to develop good eating habits so she can reduce her risk of, you know, so it depends on the lane that you're walking in. So whatever the Lord has for you to do, you kind of just plug in these blanks. Who do you help? What do you do? Like, what vehicle? And we're going to get even more clarity on this, but this is something that will help you with the rest of it so that they can, like, and how are you going to help them do that?
Oh, I get it. So opportunity is like the outcome, basically.
Yes, and I could even
Okay.
change that to outcome. See, this is why this is, sorry, I'm on the wrong slide, going the wrong way. I think that's a better word, Angel, actually. I'm going to write that down. Yeah. Because the whole goal of this is that you have a signature thing that you've developed, and you see a need somewhere at point A, and you want to get them to the landing zone. You want to see the transformation happen in their life. And what we're trying to build here is that bridge, that roadway. So this is just the beginnings of that foundation of really getting a picture. And it becomes more clear as we go into your signature program and walk that out. Any other questions on this end for now? So if you have them, someone else might have them too. And there's every question is good. Like, all right, so we're good with that. And this has come a long way, because when you're first called to ministry, if it's something you didn't inherit and you're creating it yourself, that's the hardest thing to do. Being a founder and being a creative, because you are literally putting the measuring rod around it, and you're needing this first step of prayer to say, Lord, what is the blueprint? Where are you leading me? So there's a lot of this mindset work that we need to do at the forefront, so that, because just like an airplane, when they put in their trajectory, when they put in their coordinates, they got to be spot on. If they're off 1 degree, they'll end up in a whole different place. And that's why this is so important, because we need to cooperate with the Holy Spirit, to say, Lord, you know my personality. You know the people that I'm supposed to work with and help. And those two things got to match, because you can have a great idea and you love the idea, but maybe you're not in the season. It's not your right season to do this. If it's going to take you out of the house, you got babies home, it's not going to work. And again, just if you loved being around people and you're stuck in a shoebox office typing away all day, that's not going to work, So God is going to work with who you are, if that makes any sense to anyone listening now or in the future. I love this. In the future, who knows who's going to hear this? So that brings me to your homework. And I did promise you what CIA, I would tell you what CIA files are. So here it is. CIA is copy, images, and audience. And I'm saying, put Google to work for you. And it was a life changer, realizing, like, not only Google, I should say YouTube. YouTube is right up there with Google. If you want to know how to do anything or look up any title, look up images, YouTube is right up there with Google. So look at the headlines and copy, look at the stories, the groups, the stats, the newsletters, the bullet points. This is all going to fuel and help you to write your signature message. Okay. You're going to get ideas from them. Even the images, like you were saying, Angel, those images really brought it home for you, right? When you did your homework last week, look at photos of your bennies. Like what are they going through? What are they walking through? What do they need? What kind of logo do you want? What website banner, what image, picture, something like that. And then your audiences, just like Eliezer went to the well, he knew he needed to go hang out where the potential person might be, right? He knew that's where the young women went to draw water. And that's the same thing with us. We need to go to the place where it would be most beneficial. Like if you're in business development, it probably doesn't make sense for you to do a lot of looking on Instagram. LinkedIn might be more your cup of tea. Again, if your audience is younger, you want to be in Instagram and TikTok. You want to look there. If you're in the middle age, I guess we took over Facebook. So Facebook groups, just Google searches, look in events, look at Eventbrite, now, I mean, they're really growing. You could look up any venue there. You still need the image up. Don't want to take it down if you're still writing. Okay, I have more, but I'm going to stop there for tonight so that I have more stuff for you next week, right? Let me end this, stop my share. All right, so I just didn't know if I missed anything in the chat. I can't see the chat when I'm screen sharing. So was this good tonight? Was it, yeah, okay. Good. We're starting to get to the meat now. It's almost like, you know how it is in the classes, it's like the first couple classes, you're just kind of like getting the perspective and, but now we're going to start getting to the meat and potatoes of what we're doing here. So I'd love your feedback. What did I miss? What would you like to see more of? I'm just, yeah, go ahead, Ellie or Angel, one of you.
I was just going to say, when we changed that opportunity to outcomes, it like made so much more sense to me, because I was really struggling with that, trying to understand exactly what that meant. But yeah, now it's very clear. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. And that's the whole reason for this, is to make it better. And, I'm praying that I'm going to be like the poster child for you when you're going to do your own stuff. That's why having a small group in the get-go is so beneficial, because you're going to run all your information through them and you're going to get a lot of valuable feedback to make it better and better and better every time you do it, right? So Ellie, did you have something to share?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work on the personalities, and some of the personalities for me didn't seem to line up, and I think that may just be the differences in the different tests and things like that. I've taken some of those tests, and I'm an organizer mobilizer on this, and according to kind of what you had in there, that would line me up with a beaver, say in the strengths wheel. And I didn't test as a beaver when I did that, so I was just curious. And I've found that none of the personality testings are quite robust.
Yeah.
But that's probably the organizer part of me, the right way kind of things. Like,
So we can go like, I have a really fun announcement that I just got my certification logo for Linked, and they just upped their website. What I love about it with the Linked program is that it's so easy to understand, because I was first trained in the other principles. It's been hard to change my language, how it's like, but again, they're all the same. It really helps just for a roundabout way to generalize. You're not labeling people per se, but you can kind of see where their natural bend is, if it's, extroverted or introverted. That's what I always start with, is the big four. Either you're extroverted or introverted, you lean a certain way, or you're task or relational, leaning a certain way. Like I did an event this weekend, and both of us who were leading it were both, mobilizers. So we see each other, and we're immediately talking about what needs to get done, and before we even say hi to each other. And I just it's been a learned thing for me to really be more relational. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute, stop, Nancy. I gotta give me a hug. Let's rewind and start. So this is like you tend to be a certain way, but you can learn how to be more balanced, I guess. And that's where it's really helpful, especially when you're working with people and I'm sorry, I don't know if that answered the question or not for you. Go ahead.
I don't know that it was a question, more just an observation. And I've
Okay.
worked with a lot of the personality assessments, and they all, seem to have that quirk about it. Just that it's that personality trait in me that wants everything to be perfect.
Yes.
So, and I know that's not possible, and but so it was just an observation.
And I got to tell you, it depends what you're going through in that point in your life, because what will happen is if you have a role that you're having. When I was leading the outreach center, I was the director, I was the CEO, I was like, I had to be on, like I had to be super organized. I tested more into the organizer than I really was, because I was because that's where I had to be for so much of my life, that when I finally broke free of that, I tested. I'm still very much, my focal point is being a choleric, and now I'm losing my, my mobilizer. Yeah. So I am very much mobilizer center with socializer and organizer. Those are on. So what I love about this one is that it gives you the smile. So wherever you are, you're not stuck in, but you're basically that blend, and you can move it almost like a wheel. Does that make sense? Like depending, but it wouldn't make sense if I tested completely opposite. That's where you have some very serious, as you probably know, Ellie, masking and things like that. And I think if we're like, because you have history in it, it's even harder to take the tests because of that. But here's some things that I pulled out from what you guys shared in the Facebook group. Some of the goals that you hope to have from this class are a roadmap with the steps laid out. So I'm working on more visuals for that. So right now you're just in the didactic part of it, the wordy part, but I want to, my creative side wants to see those pretty little handouts, right? To really clearly help us envision our landing zone. Where do we want to land with this? Like, and to start painting that picture of Paris for ourselves. Like when we, what do we envision? Do we envision, a beautiful park with the flowers and the cafe table, and we could smell the coffee? Like you want to just see and taste what that end is going to look like for you. And can you see yourself living there? Can you see yourself working at this every day? If you want to make this a livelihood, especially, can you see this every day? What does your schedule look like? So that's really, again, that's kind of like the mindset work we're doing, not just giving you the workbook, but we want to realistically work through this with you. And then you want the direction on how to accomplish your goals. And the Lord gave me this, I'll type it in the chat, for goals. And I probably make one of my little templates for this. Goals is God actions, lists, and steps. Like I didn't even have to think about this one. It was literally in like, I don't know, 15 seconds. The Lord just gave them to me. So I know also you guys want to help getting more organized, more with time management. So I'm going to bring time management tracker into this. I'm going to work on timelines because you want to work on timelines. And you actually want to see your mission mobilized. So that means you're going to have to share your missions. Like share a little bit of the heart of it so we can help you in some way. Like, how can we support you? That's what, again, this community and the sisterhood, how can we support you in what you're going to do at the end of this? So that was a mouthful. I think that was, we went over time, I'm sorry. But for those of you listening, we're going to log off for now. Be sure to write your questions in the Facebook group, in the Inner Circle Facebook group, and just reach out if you need anything else. Amen. God bless you, and we will see you next time.